right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Frost. Spawning in the bottom left position as the red Protoss player from Team YoFlash Wolves, it is San. And spawning in the top left position as the blue Zerg player from Team Quantic Gaming, it is HyuN. HyuN, better known for destroying every online cup ever even thought to have existed. As soon as someone dreams of a new online cup being made, HyuN is all over it. He's probably one of the most competitive players in the scene as far as the number of tournaments that he plays in, be they live or offline. I think HyuN actually got perhaps almost the most WCS points out of any player this year that didn't actually get almost any from actual WCS. He got all of his points from outside events and cups and tournaments and whatnot. So, of course, he wasn't able to make it there, and neither was San. But both players still very good in their own right. San, you know, the last time I casted San, he was playing in the Intel Extreme Masters New York, and just played some phenomenal games. Actually, really incredible macro play did come from him, but we have a bit of a quick pause. HyuN, PP, types LOL, so many lag. A bit unfortunate. HyuN is actually, if I recall correctly, he's at the Take TV house for Home Story Cup, but I don't think he's playing today. So he's just kind of in a house with a bunch of other people playing StarCraft. Hopefully, it's not a lasting issue. Ani Gomto. No, I can't understand what they're saying. My ability to read Korean is about as limited as a child looking at the alphabet and saying A, B, C, D. So HyuN, maybe just replug the Ethernet cable or something. Hopefully it's okay. Hopefully there isn't going to be any kind of weird, crazy lag issues hindering him. Although HyuN is probably one of the guys that's played with the most lag in his life. A lot of tournaments he's played in. As I said, he's in Europe now, but he is Korean. He's kind of known for playing those Korean to America tournaments. Used to playing with that type of lag, but hopefully everything is okay. This is a best of 3, so HyuN obviously wants everything to be working at least somewhat reasonably fine at the start. HyuN's sorry, go. So we're gonna try to see if HyuN's lag issue is fixed, and the game has resumed. So obviously San in this game is choosing to open up with a gateway. Not particularly unusual. This has just become absurdly popular among Protoss players against Zerg this year, really. It's a Heart of the Swarm thing. The Mothership Core makes defending an expansion so much easier than in Wings of Liberty that lots of Protoss players just say, hey, why not do the gateway expand? It keeps the Zerg player on edge. As a Zerg player, at least from the Zerg perspective, when you see a Protoss that goes for a gateway expand, you have to worry about the possibility of some sort of fast warp gate attack. A Forge fast expand, I think it's something like 7 minutes 30 seconds. You know you're not gonna have to worry about anything like warp gate at earliest, but with a gateway expand, it can come pretty damn fast. However, we have double hatchery before spawning pool for HyuN, and what makes this funnier is that his Overlord is now scouted out San's base, but his third hatchery is actually kind of close to San, and I think that San could potentially abuse this later on. If he does go for a fast attack, his Mothership Core could reach this hatchery pretty quickly, but gas is about to complete. I think actually, yeah, he got this gas before his pool as well, so HyuN playing very greedy. This is about as greedy as openers go for Zerg players. As we can see, the Mothership Core and the warp gate research are coming in. Nexus is on the way for San. Not unusual. This Overlord, of course, sees everything, so HyuN knows, and HyuN's not particularly worried about this. San's probe will sneak by. He saw the third hatchery. He sees the second hatchery. So he has to say to himself, well, so the Zerg player obviously went double hatchery before spawning pool to have this much up this quickly. How do I punish this? Twilight Council is coming in. San could try to abuse a lack of tech and say, hey, maybe Dark Templar could actually run in and do a little bit of damage. This Sentry being warped in kind of makes me feel like he's not looking to bank up gas early on. So there's still a potential that he could do something like a fast blink stalker attack. Some sort of 2 base 4 gateway stalker harass is not out of the question. The Overlord sees the gateway being placed. Since the stalker or sentry not on the field yet, obviously can't do too much about that. Now San's Twilight Council's done. He has 150 gas. Dark Shrine, yes. Sorry. So I like this play a lot. Like I said, the double gas play, the double hatchery play into gas, it's still a late gas, and HyuN actually only got enough gas to research speed. So he needs to be very aware of what's going on. If he doesn't scout this, he needs to build the spore crawlers. You don't need an evolution chamber to build spore crawlers. You don't need anything. That you can just place them whenever you want. But you need to make the read. Otherwise, it's kind of silly for players to just blindly invest into them. Extra gateways coming in for San as part of that wall, of course. He has the sentry blocking. And seeing the sentry for HyuN as a Zerg player, you often ask yourself, it's okay, what is a Protoss player doing with their gas? When you see sentries, you kind of get that feeling that he's looking a bit more towards like a 10-minute timing. The sentries can be very, very deceiving, especially without seeing gases at the natural. If you see no gas at the natural and sentries being produced, you have to think, well, there can't be that much gas available to San. And that's the beauty of this build he's using against HyuN, because HyuN doesn't have any detection at all. The Dark Shrine's about to complete. I think San's done a fantastic job of picking a build order that really exploits the information available to HyuN. Now, he can actually just warp in 1 Dark Templar. And I think if he was able to put out maybe 2 or 3 with this setup on the field, he could probably do game-ending damage. But that's not what he wants to do. He wants to poke away, pick off a couple drones, maybe delay some mining, and kill a queen. But that's the great thing about this. He's going to switch into the Stargate. He can use the defensive Void Ray to take a 3rd base if necessary. But where's the Dark Templar? There it is, now running into the natural. The Roach Warren's on the way. The lair is almost halfway done. Immediately the Spore Crawlers get started, but there you go. He's got 2 drone kills so far. What more will he get? Oh, he's actually just going to target down the Spore Crawler. Pretty smart. Another Dark Templar gets into the 3rd base. He did save up for another one. He's just focusing down the Spore Crawlers with no Spore. There's no detection. There's nothing he can do to kill this Dark Templar off. He still has another 20 seconds to go before the lair completes. He gets and kills another Spore Crawler. He's going to town on these drones. 3-4 kills on the Dark Templar at the 3rd base. He's just picking off every single Spore Crawler before it can finish. Forces another cancel. He wants to keep the Dark Templar attacking the drones, though, not those Zerglings. And every time a Spore Crawler gets built, he cancels. He just picks it off. No chance to finish there. The drones have been used to hold position surround on the Spore Crawler so that it has more time to finish. But San's still getting in and killing drones. He's still feeling great about this. And in fact, this choke point that he's in is actually going to make it quite difficult for the Zerglings to kill the Dark Templar that fast. He will get a few more kills. This 3rd hatchery is taking a lot of fire. There's a Spore Crawler complete on the left side. This Dark Templar will get picked off. But a Void Ray for San now makes things difficult in another weird way. I think the Spore Crawler acts as a natural deterrent to that. But at the same time, he's taken his 3rd base. And this is the really nice thing about this, because while, sure, 15 drones were just made for HyuN, he can still drone up heavily. He lost 9 drones during that, lost a ton of resources in all of those Spore Crawlers. As we can see, he's lost over double the resources of San. The investment of 2 Dark Templar, I think, was definitely worth it. He actually hallucinates an Oracle after HyuN scouted that Stargate early on, so this might force another weird panic reaction. Oracles move really damn fast now, so I'm wondering if this is going to make HyuN respond in any other way. I don't think so, since he already has a Spore at each base. Charge is coming in, +1 attack, and with the continued Void Ray production, it feels a little bit more that recent meta that's popped up. I think players like Naniwa, SOS, I think originally SOS is going for this Void Ray type of setup for this early mid-game-ish stage. Hallucinated Oracle finally eliminated, but he does scout the lair, so he knows that that's there. I actually wonder, did he see the Hydralisk Den? Yes, so he knows that there's going to be Hydras on the field soon. There's a very small window to attack, and I don't actually think that window will be open long enough to do any damage. The Hydras should be enough to deter this for the most part. It's going to come down to the force fields, I think, if he can kill those Hydras. But the Zerglings get on top. The Zealots coming in with that +1 attack, still about a minute away from completing, and immediately getting shoved back is San. Has to use the recall to escape to that 3rd base. So not able to make much happen there. We see the first Templar being warped in. He doesn't seem to have Storm even researching yet, so the lack of Storm researching makes me think this could just be for a fast Archon. And there is the Archon. So another Dark Templar being used to harass this 4th base. This is really nice. There's no detection here. I don't think he'll kill this hatchery if HyuN responds quickly, so he's just going to pull the DT away. I think he wants to wait for drones. He's basically saying, I really hope that you forget I had Dark Templar and don't immediately build a Spore Crawler. Or if you do, you don't bring an Overseer or any units. But HyuN wants to get on the aggressive now. There's not much AoE damage on the board. There's not much that San can really do versus this. He still has a Templar pocketed here, but there's been no transition into any type of robotics facility-based play, which means no Colossi. So it comes down purely to the Zealot Archon force to kill this. And in all honesty, when it's Zealot Archon versus Roach Hydra, you need great force fields. Otherwise, they'll kite away against your Zealots. So here he comes in. The Zealots do charge up. Great force was actually lock in a couple of these Roaches. He was able to pick off the Hydralisks, but the Hydras zip in from the side. Ooh, that High Templar is still alive. And these Zealots are actually going to town a little bit. The Hydras have no upgrades, so these Zealots find themselves in a fantastic position. The Archon's giving chase as well. The Archons move faster than the Hydralisks. The Hydras don't have the speed upgrade. They can't really escape. A fantastic engagement for San as he just continues to force him back. That Dark Templar gets in on this 4th base. He's basically forcing him to try to multitask and defend every which direction. San moves out a little bit closer from the field. There's more Roaches in production. I'm wondering how much San commits, though. He doesn't have a Mothership Core. He can't recall in a situation like this if his army gets caught. And I think it's a smart move to pull back. Just send a few Zealots. There's no need to bring the whole army, because if he loses this force, he doesn't really have anything set up behind this. Continued Void Ray production, very smart. More Archons, more Zealots. And pumping off this 3 base, I think, is a fantastic thing to do. But with the Spire completing, HyuN doesn't really have enough resources to switch into something like Mutalisks. I don't know that that's going to be his choice. He's just going to keep pumping out Roaches, maybe more Hydralisks to help deal with the slightly air-based composition. Mutas are coming out. Well, Mutas won't do anything versus the army itself. These Archons will evaporate those in seconds. Important to consider, once San realizes this, it all depends on, I guess, how fast he realizes it, because Dark Templar gets caught there on the north side of the map, but he does have the Stargate. So with the Stargate and even a cannon in his natural, there's not enough mutas on the field to really do too much damage. And I don't even think he can fight this army head-to-head. He's just going to blast in here. Hatchery gets picked off very quickly. GG. HyuN's like, you know what? I can't fight that. And taps out. Game number 1 of this best of 3 goes to the Yo Flash Wolves Protoss San.